What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We are in The Crew, and I'm going to give you my full-on review. So stick with me for a few minutes. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you learn a lot, get a lot out of it in terms of having questions answered for you. If you do have any questions or comments or anything, please feel free to leave them below. I will try to answer them as best as I can from what I do know. I want to do a quick shout-out to the guys over in my community, Night Owls Gaming community. A couple guys stepped up this week and managed to allow me to get 5 keys given out to other people so they can enjoy the beta, and they've done a couple of reviews themselves. So thanks once again to my community for stepping up, as always. Much appreciated, guys. But let's get into this game. Let's talk about it. So what we know is it is a Ubisoft game. It is being developed with Ivory Tower and Ubisoft Reflections are working together. It's been in development for several years now. It is going to release in November. It's what they're calling a MMO racing game. So we have multiplayer, we have single player. We've got a whole lot going on. Open world. It's pretty interesting. Initially, when I first started playing it, I could see the queues from Test Drive series. I can see the Driver series in here. Driver San Francisco, if you're familiar with the Ubisoft Driver series. Really good game too, both of those. And then I really fell right off the bat NSS The Run, just because I saw Zoe pop up on the screen and you had the whole storyline going on right off the beginning. And at first I was thinking to myself, this is not going to be fun. This is going to become annoying really fast. This is just not going to work out well. But after having a week to go over it, I've got a good feel for it now, and I want to try to hopefully give you guys some more information about it. So, things that we like. The menu system, alright? The menu system's pretty well done. It's easy to access when you're in your car. You just quickly hit, if you're on the keyboard, you hit the escape button. You can, on a controller, you can set a key for it, I believe. And then you also have a wheel as well. But the system is really nice. It's kind of like a little cell phone that pops up on the right-hand side of the screen. You've got crew roster. You've got a map. You've got the radio function, which allows you to switch to the different radio channels that they have in the game. You can access your headquarters and go directly to your headquarters. You got a mobile garage, which allows you to quickly access your cars that are in your garage, and you can see what you have, what's attached to them, that type of stuff. You've got a mission diary, which tells you what your current mission is and allows you to access other missions that are there. Mobile mechanic that doesn't unlock right away, but you can eventually unlock it and fix your car. You got a mobile tuner, allowing you to see the parts that you have. If you need to add in, if you have any parts that can upgrade, you can put on. It allows you to do it on the fly. Obviously, your options menu, which gives you things such as game settings, notification, audio control, keyboard controls, wheel control, with a really nice setup in there. You can even set up your dead zones and everything. You got key mapping, your video settings. Initially, my video settings are set at 30 FPS, which is kind of, when I first started, I'm like, oh, this is going to be really disappointing. And I was kind of drawn back by seeing it being at an FPS 30 lock-in. After playing it for a week, I got to tell you, it did not bother me at all being at 30. Matter of fact, it was probably one of the smoothest gameplays I've seen in a long time with a game that's locked at 30. If they keep it at 30 FPS, it wouldn't even bother me, and I'd almost be beginning to say that that would actually be a good thing, because you are live in an open world environment where tons of different people are coming and going throughout the map all the time. It may be set personally so that they can control that a little bit better, and I'd be okay with that. Cop chases, okay, cop chases, they're fun. Sometimes they can be a bit short or too easy, which was kind of the case back in the Test Drive Unlimited days as well. Sometimes they were too short, sometimes they were too easy, other times they were awesome. So I mean, I'd like to see a little change in there. You have your police watch destruction meter, which is on the top of your screen. As you hit things, obviously your destruction meter goes up. If it goes up all the way, you get caught into a police chase. If you hit a cop car, you get into a police chase, obviously. Ironically though, if you drive by the cops at 100+ miles an hour just racing past them, they do nothing. So I'd like to see maybe something like that changed around as well. I like them to react to you speeding past them when you shouldn't be, and you racing through a red light and they just sit there. In terms of driving, there is a huge variety of vehicles, and I mean a huge variety of vehicles. You have various vehicle specs, so you can street spec, performance spec, circuit spec, dirt road spec, and raid spec. I don't know what raid spec is. I didn't get to try it out. I'd probably say something like boss type of vehicles. You have different views. You can be behind the car. There's different views behind the car. There's the road view, the front of the car, the bumper view, commonly known as. There's the hood view, and there is my favorite, cockpit view. And we'll talk about that in a minute.
It's gotta be right.
Vehicles, they all feel and drive entirely different from each other. And after driving a good different number of them, I was very impressed with the fact that you could tell the differences in the vehicles. And even being just on a keyboard, you could still tell the difference in the vehicle. You had factors in there, easily factors like weight of the vehicle, handling of the vehicle, speed of the vehicle, braking of the vehicle. They all played a key in how the vehicle reacted, and I was very impressed with that. I know there's still some tweaks that have to go in there. It is not a perfect setup, but it did feel really well compared to many other racing games that I've played. Parts are picked up from skills events and racing and mission level events, and you usually get them at the end. You have 3 different tiers of parts based off of how well you do. You got the bronze, silver, and the gold. So obviously the better you do, the better part you get out of it. But it's a random draw that comes out at the end, and if it is something that is upgradable to your car, it allows you to auto-equip it. If it's not something that is upgradable, it's kind of like a downgrade, it allows you to send it to your HQ so you can store it for another car. Or let's say you already have the part and you already have the part equipped, it'll actually allow you to sell it immediately for cash, or bucks is what they call it in game. Having the different parts, as you grow the car and the car progresses and you have the better parts on it, you will see a significant improvement in how the car handles, how the car drives, all that good stuff. So that's really impressive as well. They did a really good job on that. In terms of the driver's view, like I said, I am normally a hood cam or cockpit view driver. If I've got a game that doesn't have a cockpit view or a good cockpit view, then I will play on the hood to kind of get the best immersion that I can. I really actually can't play behind the car. It just doesn't work for me. With that said, the cockpit view in here, I think there is a couple of tweaks that still would need to be made on a couple of cars. The cockpit view is not good, but in terms of how it generally is, the immersion feels really, really good with this. The car reacts to the driver more or less, so if you hit brakes pretty hard, you'll see the view of your car change as if you were braking in real life. You turn, you're going to see your head turn as if you were turning in real life in a vehicle. You know, if you spin around on the e-brake, you're going to see the whole car view angle turn. You're going to be looking at the left-hand side of your car or the right-hand side of your car. And so I think they did a really good job on that part as well. And again, I think they have a couple of vehicles that still need to be tweaked just a little bit. Overall, the view out the front of the car, out the back of the car, it's all good. Mirrors don't seem to work, but I'm okay with that because there's some quick, easy ways to turn to the left, turn to the right, look behind you. Just simple keyboard combinations, and they can be set up real easily in key mapping as well. So I can understand why they didn't do it on the mirrors and just have it the other way around. Gaining bucks or money, yeah, obviously you gain it from the events and stuff, but you can also do it in open world, similar to playing in Test Drive, where you could be, you know, as you race by cars, if you race by them cleanly and close enough, you're going to start gaining bucks, and that'll start to get a multiplier against it based off of how many you go and how far you go and that type of stuff. So that felt very much like Test Drive, and I think they did a really good job on that. In terms of events, you can run in single player, you can run co-op with friends, you can take random invites or create random queues from others that are in open world around the events that are going on. For multiplayer, there is a PvP starting zones throughout the world in different locations, so you can go into them and they'll queue in for different races and stuff, and those have sessions of up to 8 players at one time, so you plus 7 other players. So that's out there. That's pretty good. Open world wise, you'll find tons of people out there. You'll see them throughout the game all the time. They don't really affect you. I've found that when I go to click in or queue in for an event, if I went to solo or if I went to co-op or a random invite, any of that stuff, what it really seemingly does is takes you out of the open world and puts you into its own, I guess you could say, private, session. And this is where they did a really good job by using cutscenes to cue you in and out of the open world as they load up the different sessions. And I think they did a great job on that in the transition phase, because not many people even thought about that. But that's how they do the transition, is they overlay it with the cutscenes. So I'm pretty impressed with that one. Now, let's see what else. There's definitely still some bugs we worked out. Mostly for myself, I saw a lot of audio issues. You probably may hear them a couple times in this video. My car tended to, even when I'm racing at 140 miles an hour, sometimes I would just hear the car turning over as if somebody was trying to start it over and over and over and over, and it got quite annoying. The open world mics, only one time did I have an issue with that, where when I loaded up the game, it put the mics on, and I quickly heard somebody clicking at his mechanical keyboard as if it was right in my ear for just a minute or two until I got into the options menu and disabled it again. So thumbs up to the team at Ivory Tower and Ubisoft for creating a button that allows us to disable the in-game audio mics. Thank you. That has been a big issue in the past with many other games. Finally, overall, the game works really well. It's much better than I anticipated when I first started it. It's kind of like a really good line between arcade and simulation racing, so it kind of fits in there very, very well. A person with a keyboard can enjoy the game just as much as somebody with a full-out steering wheel, all set up with the steering wheel controls. Hanging out with friends, across the whole map, it's awesome. You can basically drive from one end to the other. It'd take you like an hour and a half to get from one end of the map to the other. There are things like train stations and airports that if you click on them, you can quick travel. It'll cost you some money to quick travel, but you can quick travel from, let's say, New York to Miami or Miami over to California. You can do that really quickly as well. So you've got everything there, I think, in this game. So finally, my thought on the game: is it worth buying? That's kind of really up to you to decide. I know it's hard to say, if you haven't actually played it or played the demo or the beta. I can tell you personally that this, to me, feels like it puts most of the arcade simulation style racing games from the past 4 years to shame. Just puts them to shame. I mean, that would, it kind of goes back to, I don't even want to mention any of the other, but you can figure out, it pretty much puts them all to shame with the way this game was put together. And I think they've done a really good job on that in terms of it. Is it worth pre-order? I think for me it's worthy of a pre-order. I haven't decided yet. I'm hoping that there'll be another beta session or two before that time comes when it releases in November, and then I can really make a better decision. But as of right now, after playing it for a week, I think it is worth the pre-order, and I would be happy to. And I would say this game would definitely take a lot of my time. I mean, they touted somewhere around 20 hours or more of just a single player experience alone, and I could see that based on how you level up and how it plays through, and they did a really good job on that. So that's my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know it was about 15 minutes long, but I wanted to get through everything so you could really get a good gist for it. So stay tuned. I'll have some other stuff for you on the game in the next few days. But if you have any questions or comments, as always, please leave them below. If you like this, hit that like button for me. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do hit that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated, and I will catch you guys soon. Thanks for watching.